Yes, we are live now.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on your time zone. I greet every one of you on this wonderful conference, EduTalks, which aims to bring together educators, trainers, teachers from all around the globe to discuss, explore, and share the latest developments and challenges in the field of education. This conference is a platform for learning, sharing ideas, and collaborating with one another to find solutions to the pressing issues that we face in the field of education. It's an honor to be here, and I'm grateful to the IIU and its founder for the opportunity to speak to all of you. So let me first begin with giving you brief information about IIU. IIU is a leading virtual education system, and it's trusted, well-reputed worldwide for delivering quality training programs, for providing quality virtual education to all the young learners from different parts of the world. And it provides more than 1,000 internships, courses with the help of more than 1,000 global educators. IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries, 6 continents, under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit. So I think now we can announce the opening of this event, and I would like to give a word to our guest of honor, Miss Dani Mandi from the UK. She is in ELT over 23 years, and she has worked as a teacher, trainer, consultant, and writer. Her greatest achievements are Delta and MA in ELT, and she has trained over 6,000 teachers from over 25 countries so far. And of course, our teachers know Dani quite well, and they love her. Welcome, dear Dani.
Thank you very much. Okay, am I okay to share my screen?
Yes,
yes,
please.
Of course.
Brilliant. Okay, here we go. Okay, can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes, great.
Okay, fantastic. So this is something I wanted to talk about because it's something I'm really interested in, and maybe some other teachers might find it quite interesting as well. So I'm going to talk today about the benefits of collocational competence, okay? So I've done quite a lot of research on this, and there are 2 key features that I've pulled out of my research that I'm going to talk about today. So I hope it will be useful for some of the teachers who are with us. So here we go. So collocations, hugely important in all language teaching, not just English language teaching. And you can see here some very typical definitions. I really like the top one, the company that words keep, or the way in which words are used together regularly, and 2 words, or maybe more than 2 words, that naturally co-occur together. So these are the 2 points I'm going to consider today. And the first one is from some qualitative research that I've done. So the first one is teaching collocations from beginner levels. And then the second point is equipping higher level learners, because when I'm not training, I teach university students on foundation courses or international year 1. So I'm really passionate about equipping them with study skills and strategies to encourage them to notice collocations in the classroom, but also using study skill strategies so they can notice incidentally outside of the classroom. I think we all know breeding autonomous learners is really, really important. We want our learners to be independent. So from the research that I did, I was a little bit amazed actually that I interviewed many, many teachers from all around the world, and there was a huge percentage of teachers when I interviewed them who said, we don't teach collocations at lower levels. In fact, often we avoid them. And I was quite surprised. Again, these are teachers who are extremely experienced, but there was this common feature through the whole research that collocations at lower levels, we don't do them that much. And I think actually it's really important to teach collocations at low levels. The first thing I would say is meta-language for lower level learners actually can be quite scary sometimes, and possibly the word collocation is not very student friendly or user friendly to lower level learners. So we came up with two different things. Best friends. So with lower level learners, when we're looking at collocations and phrases, we can talk about best friends that go together or live together. And you can see from the icons, visual literacy is really, really important with learners of all ages. And actually just showing icons rather than using that meta language can be really, really important. So the biggest question that teachers were asking me is, how can we introduce collocations at lower levels? And I'm sure there's lots of teachers here who are using collocations at lower levels. So I think when we look at education nowadays, the most important thing with any language we're teaching in the classroom is to make sure it's authentic, relevant, meaningful and purposeful to the learners. They've got to be able to make some connection with the language that we're teaching them. So here we're looking at very low levels, and we can see very simply chores in the house, things that are relevant to them that they may have to do in their home, their family do. And we're just asking very simple questions using very easy collocations or best friends, language that goes together. Who makes the bed? So we've got makes the bed. Who does the washing up? Does the washing up. Who makes breakfast? Makes breakfast. Really, really simple questions we would probably be using anyway, but we can start to highlight and get students to notice the collocations. Similarly, with daily routine, you open any course book for lower level learners, one of the first units, you're going to have daily routine in some page. So again, we use daily routine in a more purposeful way, very specific to our learners at lower levels, so that it's relevant and purposeful to them, but with very simple, often verb-noun collocations. So we could ask a question again, and then we've got some communicative competence, watch television, meet friends, go for a walk. And again, we're exposing lower level learners to collocations, but it's about equipping them so that they recognize that it's language that goes together and it's one unit. And I think this will help them develop as they go up. There's a link at the bottom, and perhaps I'll put this in the chat box at the end. And this is a really lovely worksheet that's done by the British Council, and it's all about activities with collocations for very low levels. So I will put that in the chat box at the end. I think for me, the most important thing is noticing activities. So again, any activity we can do in the classroom where we're getting students to notice language, and specifically today, notice collocations. I've put in brackets at the top. My favourite thing to do in the classroom is a dictogloss, and actually dictogloss can be used very simply, lower levels, higher levels, and that can be a great activity to notice collocations. Collocation grids are very, very simple, and visually they're very, very easy for students to digest. So you can see here, make the bed, make money, make homework. One of the biggest mistakes I think that students make, they always talk about making homework rather than doing homework. So we can just make grids and display them on the board and constantly look at them as a noticing task. I love getting students up and moving around the classroom quite a lot. So I like doing matching mingles. So half of the class will have the first part of the collocation, and the other students will have the second part, and they have to move together. And the idea here is it's communicative competence. They're talking with each other. What do you have? What do I have? Does this go together? So they're really doing a bit of critical thinking, a bit of problem solving. They may be being a bit creative, but there's definitely a lot of communication and collaboration here. So the 4 C's play a big role. Lower level learners, I think sometimes low resource, no resource classes can work very well, and just have a board race. So the teacher would shout the first part of the collocation and one person from the team will write it on the board, go back and go through it again. So obviously, similarly with vocabulary, the same with collocations, it's about recycling as much as possible. And if anyone's heard of a grammar auction, there's something quite similar for collocations, and it's called collocation casino. And it's used in exactly the same way as a grammar auction, but you're just focusing very much on collocations rather than grammar. So this was the question that I started to think about when I was doing my research, and perhaps you can all think about it and maybe see if you have any answers. Often as language teachers, not just English language teachers, but all language teachers, students get to a plateau when they get to a certain level. So they go really, really quickly through the levels, and then they hit intermediate and progress seems much slower. They can often be demotivated. And often that is because of language, because of vocabulary. So my question is, maybe if we start teaching collocation from starter level, from beginner level, could students then avoid this intermediate plateau effect that they often face? Because collocations can really help them with speaking, with reading, with writing and listening. So perhaps you might have an answer for that. And then the second part of this was my experience. So 80% of my year I teach at I train, and 20% of my year I teach at universities. And I was very shocked this year. My class, you know, they're all foundation students. They were very unfamiliar and unsure about the term collocations. And they were very unsure about what they are and how to learn them. I'm sure perhaps they had learned them in the past, but they were a bit anxious about the idea. So I think study skills were a top priority for me as a teacher to really help increase their autonomy so that they could notice collocations incidentally outside the classroom. Because we know as teachers, we're very time poor. We don't always have a lot of time in the classroom to go through things. And foundation students need to be doing a lot of independent research outside the classroom. So very simply, there's one thing that I use on a regular basis, and it's a corpus tool. Now, obviously, we were talking about beginner students earlier. I wouldn't use corpus tools with beginner students, but my foundation students generally have about 5.5 on IELTS, sometimes higher. And I would use a corpus tool all the time in the classroom. Every time a collocation question came up or a lexical question, I would use the corpus tool and have it on my interactive whiteboard. And the students then got very safe in learning about collocations, phrases, because I was using it all the time with them. And it built their confidence so that they could then use the corpus tool autonomously when they were doing research projects, essay writing and reading at home. And I've put at the bottom, I don't know if anyone uses this or has heard of this. This is my favorite because it's very user student friendly. The students could use it autonomously without guidance from the tutor. And it's called SKEL. And this is a really, really great corpus tool to use, especially for collocations with students at a foundation level at university. And that was just one simple thing that I integrated into a study skill, and the students' lexical range was increasing massively because they were very independent then in their learning. So I think in general, with collocations and collocational competence, it's the same principle at all levels. We have to focus this idea of highlighting and noticing, not just once, but again and again and again. With all lexis and vocabulary, it's about repeated exposure and using a system to record collocations. So half of my board in my class is purely for collocations in the classroom. So whenever a word comes up, I can ask, elicit ideas, activate schema. What do you know already? What does this collocate with? And then we have our collocation part on the whiteboard. So I'm constantly reminding them of the importance of collocations. And for anyone watching who is teaching English for academic purposes, there's a wonderful resource, and I've put the link at the bottom. It's called eapfoundation.com. And this is collocations, but it's academic collocations. So this is very much suited for students in academia if they're doing undergraduate, postgraduate, foundation, even perhaps if they're doing IELTS exams. And it's really, really useful. And again, they can use it on their own. And I've just put here, just to finish off, these are the links that I've used today. So perhaps you could take a photo. EAP Foundation, as I said, this is wonderful. This is purely for academic collocations. The second one is a wonderful resource from the British Council, very low level collocation, Palmanism, a fun activity to do. And the last one is a really thought-provoking article from Cambridge, and it says why good language teachers should take collocations seriously. Okay, and that brings me to the end.
Wow.
Oh, so have you finished?
Yes.
Yes. It was very informative. Thank you, dear Dani, for accepting the invitation and for enlightening our teachers on such an important topic. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to give a word to Ambassador Dr. Froilan Mobo from Philippines. Can you hear us? He is an ambassador at International Human Rights Movement, chief editor in FSH/PH publication, regional director in CEL, professor at Columbian Academic College, book author, international researcher, and global speaker. Welcome, dear doctor. Can you hear us? You are muted.
I can hear you. Okay. Can I share my PPT? Okay.
Yes, sir, you can.
Yes, please.
Actually, my topic is about digital technology, digital literacy. It's all about more of the transformational changes in education competency. So this is a very important topic that we all know all about that. Of course, technological digital literacy nowadays, it plays a major role in the part of education's sector, especially which includes technology which can evaluate and create information. Part of it, technology, of course, makes a different thing in terms of using devices and other platform. And part of it, of course, we can use a lot of things that we can create, review, evaluate, and use information by digital platforms. And part of it, we have a lot of benefits of using technology literacy because it can improve the skills. For example, the more you understand about technology, the more it can build us easier from all digital skills by using other platforms, for example, using advanced technology platforms by integrating that part of the artificial intelligence platform. From there, also be part of being a versatile in every platform because it will be able to become more comfortable using technology in many situations and you can get the best out of it. And of course, it can raise student engagement because especially nowadays, a lot of students are in Generation Z. So the more technology we introduce into them, the more that they will be able to engage more, especially in students learning. It can provide more interactive, immersive, for example, using learning management systems, gauging them in other virtual reality platforms that will be able to learn them. And of course, the elements of technology literacy is, of course, we have the value. Of course, culturally, it can understand, of course, how to behave, of course, etiquette and privacy in terms of cognitive and constructive and communicative. It will be able to help, of course, our students to be more engagement in terms of the learning environment. And the first part of it will be just like what the first speaker mentioned in terms of critical thinking. It will be able to help our students to be more engaged in terms of the delivery of this particular area. So technology platforms, of course, can substantially improve, of course, the learning of this of our students. And part of this today's youth, they're really adopted in terms of using this kind of platform. So how does it work? Because it's accessible, it can analyze, it can produce, and it can use in any various technology platforms. So I think that would be all on my part. So thank you and good evening.
So welcome. So welcome. Thank you so much. You always share very interesting presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. We are proud of you, Professor. Thank you. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. And next, I'd like to call an English teacher at Economic College, Nicolae Crețulescu from Romania. Dear Miss Laura Stanțiu, I hope I spelled it correctly. She's an author of books, school textbooks, coordinate and participant in national and international educational projects, competitions, activities. She's a participant in EduWinning and Erasmus programs, and she's a global speaker. Welcome, dear.
Thank you
The
so
stage
much.
is yours.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am honored to be here today at this very interesting and exciting conference full of wonderful ideas. Allow me to share the screen. So, as you said, I am a teacher at Economic College, Nicolae Crețulescu from Romania. And today I would like to tell you a few things that I do to make learning interesting, because I believe that teachers have a very, very important mission. It's not just a job, it is a great responsibility. We are shaping the young generations, and we are doing our best to put the world in good hands for the days that will come. And I would like to start with a quote by Benjamin Franklin. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. Because I believe we should involve our students, we should make them active participants in the learning process. And as Albert Einstein said, everybody is a genius, but if we judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. And this is why we should assume that each student has the potential to be a leader, a change maker, someone who will leave an important mark upon our world. And as I said, it is our mission to empower, to motivate our students, and to acknowledge their skills, and to acknowledge their future role in the That's why I believe we should.
Laura, please, you are muted now, and yes,
Okay.
continue. I mute all. Sorry for this, and continue, please.
So we should all teachers should use active learning methods to encourage students to engage in their learning by thinking, discussing, investigating, and creating. In class, students practice and develop their skills. They solve problems, struggle with complex questions, make decisions, propose solutions, and explain ideas in their own words through writing and discussions. Education research shows that incorporating active learning strategies into the teaching process significantly enhances student learning experiences, because learning should be fun and should be an interesting experience for the students. There are many benefits to active learning. I'm sorry. There are opportunities to process the learning material through thinking, writing, talking, and problem solving. And this gives students multiple avenues for learning. Applying new knowledge helps the students encode information, concepts, and new skills in their memories by connecting it with prior information, organizing knowledge, and strengthening neural pathways. Receiving frequent and immediate feedback helps students to correct misconceptions and develop a deeper understanding of the course material. Working on activities helps create personal connections with the materials, which increase students' motivation to learn. Regular interaction with the teacher and the peers around shared activities and goals helps to create a sense of community in the classroom. Teachers may gain more insight into student thinking by observing and talking with students as they work. Knowing how students understand the material helps the teachers target their teaching in future lessons. And this is a very interesting drawing showing how students begin their journey into active learning. So first, they can maintain focus on their activity for a period of time. They can be involved, they can concentrate, they can pay attention to details, not easily distracted, and show high levels of energy and fascination. Then, in the middle of the activity, they can persist with activity when challenges occur. They can show a belief that more effort or a different approach will pay off. They can bounce back after difficulties and keep trying. And in the end, they will gain motivation. They will show satisfaction in meeting their own goals, achieving and enjoying their achievement, proud of how they accomplished something, and enjoy meeting challenges. And a way of making learning interesting is to tell them about the learning outcomes and explain how the activities relate to these learning outcomes. Give them a purpose for learning and encourage them to ask questions, to interact, and to solve all their problems related to how they understand the task given. The teacher needs to create a positive learning environment because classrooms are small communities and they need to function as such. They all need to work together and to interact in order to make this environment work. A teacher needs to offer equal chances so that each student is encouraged, no matter how great their skills are. They need to be encouraged and they need to be told that they matter, that they can make a positive difference and that their efforts are taken into consideration. If they have any skills, they should be motivated to show their skills and to use them in order to enhance their learning experience. And of course, teachers should always offer feedback and ask for feedback from the students so as to make the lessons more and more interesting. students need creative ideas. So that's why they need to be motivated. The teachers need to explain to students how to apply the learned knowledge in real life, to give them a purpose for their learning, and maybe even place them in the situations that require that, that knowledge. For example, taking the students to real places where they could use the language, where they can use the skills that they have learned. Learn more about the people or events connected with the topic or the lesson. Again, to give them the connection with the real world. If they are creative, the teacher can also encourage them to express their ideas through art and through any other means that might use their skills, might help them to use their skills. And one of these would be role play for the students who like to take part in these activities. It gives them the chance to try the learned material in a very creative way, and gives them the chance for a few minutes to become somebody else. And this makes them more confident, and as they are speaking for a character and not for themselves. And as I said, to demonstrate their knowledge by using their own skills. I will come back to that. This is one idea that I used in one of my classes. So a teacher needs to be creative and to encourage the students to be creative. And for teaching past simple, I asked the students to use all these ideas and many more, anything that they imagined, in order to practice using the past tense. So for the students who are talented at poetry, they were asked to write some poems. They were asked to write stories or to present their sentences in the shape of news or a song. And here we have some students, these are from my school, who are actually taking this assignment very seriously and made a very nice song. The other students put their ideas into a play, while others, instead of just giving them the normal test that teachers give, I asked them to make the test. And this is why I made my students spend a lot more time for this homework than a regular homework, but it was a lot of fun for them and for their peers. When we use gamification in our classes, the learning experiences turns into an interesting game, which is a lot of fun. As teacher Danny said, we can use any exercise to turn, we can turn any exercise into a race. So we can write on the board a sort of score and see who can find the right answers, or even finding the treasure game, or a map of a treasure, to write a story, to imagine a story using their 5 senses. For example, what do you see around you? What do you hear? Can you taste anything? Can you smell anything? Can you touch anything? So let's turn the learning experience into a game and see how much the students will enjoy this. This is another quote that is very close to my heart. A teacher takes a hand, opens a mind, and touches a heart. So a teacher should know the students, their needs, give them reasons why they should study, find what motivates them, encourages them to use the skills by giving real life examples, communicate, always communicate, because this is essential, create an atmosphere that motivates the students and gives them confidence, give the students control over some activities, teach them how to learn and give them study tips, develop students' self-worth, encourage them to speak up, teach them how to take care of themselves, give them motivational quotes to keep them going and to make learning more fun. Give them fun homework, such as choosing a song that describes their mood. And one fun idea is to send the students home with a mission, again, to do something, a fun activity like the ones I described earlier, and always, always praise the students. These are some of the activities that I did with my class. We learned about SDGs, we were involved in donations, we had fun games, we made drawings, lots of activities, and of course international projects and Erasmus project, activities that brought the students together and combined learning with interesting activities. Thank you for your attention and keep doing your best, because teachers change the world one child at a time. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you,
Yes,
dear.
Laura.
Thank
She
you.
is really
Thank you. Yes, she's great, really. Thank you so much, Laura, for accepting the invitation, for giving us all those useful tips. I like your responsible attitude to what you do and your how passionate you are about teaching your students and how passionate you are about enhancing their creativity. Thank you.
Yes, dear Shalala, you are right. Dear Laura, you are a really very amazing teacher. I'm sure your school and your students are proud of you. And of course, we are also proud of you.
And
Thank
they
you
are
very much
happy
for
to have a
staying with
teacher
us.
like her.
Yes,
Thank you.
and sharing and very interesting presentation. Yes, my dear colleagues, we learn from each other every day. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so now I'd like to invite our guest speaker from Georgia, Tinatin Tsartsidze. Can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
Yes. Hello, dear. Please first introduce yourself, about your work experience, give some information. Where do you work?
Yes.
Yes.
Dear
Yes.
Sudan, can you
I
hear
am-
me? Yes, please introduce yourself.
I am Tina Tintsatsidze, an English language teacher in Chiatura, Georgia. And I want to present you my presentation on the topic of education as a goal of sustainable development and Georgia.
Good luck. It's very interesting.
Thank you. Education is a top priority of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, as it is one of the basic human rights, the basis for peace and sustainable development. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization is a specialized agency of the United Nations in the field of education, and its education sector is at the forefront of international and regional efforts in the direction of education promotion, contributes to the strengthening of national education systems, and governs contemporary global challenges in the field of education. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, as a specialized agency of the United Nations in the field of education, is empowered to lead and coordinate the implementation of the Global Education Agenda for 2030, which is part of the global efforts to end poverty, which is guided by the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. 17, the goal is to represent. Education, which forms the basis for achieving these goals, is independently presented in Sustainable Development for Goal 4, which serves to ensure inclusive, equitable, and quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Education for sustainable development is a means of developing and building the pervasive core competencies that are relevant to the goals of sustainable development. Education for sustainable development can serve to achieve specific learning outcomes that are needed to achieve a specific goal of sustainable development. Specific learning objectives related to the sustainable development goals are the cognitive dimension, includes the knowledge and thinking skills needed to better understand the sustainable development goal and the challenge associated with achieving it. The social emotional dimension includes the social skills that enable individuals to cooperate, negotiate, and communicate with each other to contribute to the achievement of the sustainable development goals, and also includes the self-awareness skills, values, attitudes, and motivations that enable learning to develop themselves. The behavioral dimension includes competencies related to action. Additionally, for each sustainable development goal, recommended topics and pedagogical approaches are provided. The changes and reforms implemented in Georgian education are a response to world education and are considered in terms of sustainable development. We try to stay abreast of world efforts and not lose sight of our roots. Today, third generation national curriculum is a mixture of Georgian and world values, an important part of which is a complex task. This task addresses all three dimensions of education as a sustainable development goal. Complex tasks are created by a teacher according to the requirements of the national curriculum and the results of the subject standards. It is determined what products the student should create, what competencies he should cover. According to this, the condition of the complex task is created. Its goal is for the student to create a product that he can adopt in practical everyday life. After presenting the work, the student receives verbal formative feedback. At the same time, he analyzes what he did well and what was difficult, what did he learn new, and what would be changed if he had a task to complete all over again. Work on complex tasks is done in all grades and levels of public schools. I present to you the assignment done in the 5th grade. The condition of the task is as follows. Based on the poster, prepare a presentation about your friend's profile and present it to the class. What is the main topic of the poster? What is its structure? Who is the main character? What are his appearance and his or her appearance and character traits? Use the learned words, expressions, grammatical forms, taking into account the communication situation and purpose. Match the communication situation with the intonation, syllables, and pronunciation characteristic of the English language to convey the information. I introduce the condition of the task to the students before starting this topic. I explained that they would learn the vocabulary, expressions, and grammatical forms needed to complete this task over the next 3 weeks. We started working on the preparation of a complex task. Through various fun, written, and oral exercises, students mastered the necessary vocabulary, words, and expressions. For example, have his character, hobbies, and interests, has got reddish, curly straight hair, is smart, lazy, clumsy, is good at, is afraid of, is interested in, adjectives, smart, pretty, patient, clumsy, lazy, slim, short, tall, strict, strange, curly, straight, reddish, brave, hardworking. Phrasal adjectives, good or bad at, interested in, afraid of. Nouns, nickname, first name, surname, primary school, science, member, adventure, so on. In grammar, we worked on present, simple, positive, or negative forms to have got positive and negative forms, and can and can't. It's a lesson. We had the exercises where we listen different different records. Yes, different records. 3 weeks later, I pre-arranged the day for the volunteers to present their work to the class. All students made the presentation. After presenting the task, they received formative assessment from me, and I also talked about their experiences in the process of working on the task. We present to you the works of some students, and there are many interesting topics and interesting products ahead. With these assignments, students develop the skills of acquiring, understanding, and applying knowledge. They learn to analyze, synthesize, and evaluate information. Thank you for your attention.
Wow.
Thank you, Dia. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you so
interesting
much.
presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nadine, you are so welcome. Thank you so much. Really very interesting presentation you present. Wow,
Yes.
thank you so much. It's very interesting information also here for you. Thank you for sharing. Well done.
Okay, so now I'd like to invite an amazing teacher from Azerbaijan. She has 23 years of work experience. She's a TESOL certified English teacher, NC State University ELT certificate program graduate with honors in 2022. She's actively participating in American Embassy and British Council projects. She's a member of Azerbaijan Foreign Language Teachers Association. She's regularly preparing her students for different competitions. So, dear Ayten Mahramova, welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Can I share my screen, dear?
Yes,
Oh,
of course.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Just my name is Ayten Mahramova. I'm also an English teacher, and I teach at school. I have 23 years of experience. Today, I want to speak about how to give constructive feedback. Feedback is an integral part of the learning process, even from a very young age. How others respond to our actions gives us clues as to how we should feel ourselves and acts as a guide for what we'll do next. Of course, as educators, we know the importance of giving our students meaningful feedback. But how can we understand the types of feedback that are most valuable, and how can we be sure we are offering suggestions that really make a difference in our students' learning? Also, many of us may not consider the feedback we give our students to be a reward or a punishment. Research shows that the brain sees things differently. Those neural pathways still respond to feedback as though it's an external motivator. This means that the way you choose to give feedback is essential to how your students respond to it. Because we typically use verbal or written language to give feedback, the context, tone, and the vocabulary we choose can determine how it's received, and therefore how it affects students' neural pathways and future decisions. When giving feedback, students' feedback, keep these tips in mind. Praise their efforts, not their talents. It's tempting to tell our kids just how smart and talented we think they are, but this type of praise may actually have a negative effect in the long run. To help kids develop a growth mindset, we should praise growth-oriented behaviors like hard work instead of seemingly fixed qualities like talent or intelligence. Try using praise like, "I'm so proud of all the effort you put into this, and all your hard work really paid off." Mistakes and errors don't need to feel negative. People with a growth mindset know that mistakes are part of the learning process, and the real learning can't happen without them. In fact, people learn far more from their mistakes than from their achievements. So mistakes should be something to celebrate. Encourage your kids to shift their mindset and wear their temporary failures with pride. After all, the only true failure can come if you quit. Be specific. General feedback like great job and almost there is easy to give, but not always easy for the recipient to understand. Offering feedback detailing exactly what students are doing well or what they need to improve often can be infinitely more effective. Explain feedback wherever possible. Take specific feedback even further by offering detailed explanation of why you choose to make those suggestions. For example, use more descriptive words. Maybe helpful feedback for students' writing, but it can be made even more useful with the reason why. Adding more descriptions here will help paint a picture in your reader's mind. Start with a clear goal. Okay, start with a clear goal. If students know where they are headed from the start, they will more easily be able to check back in during the process to make sure they are on track. A clear, concise learning objective also serves as a reference point for you as you offer students feedback. If you are not sure where students' destination is, how can you be sure that they are going to the right way? Keep it timely. Feedback is most valuable when it's given immediately following the task or even during the process of completing it. The longer you wait between students' activities and giving your feedback on it, the less relevant your comments become. Whenever possible, try to engage in feedback as students are working or as soon as possible during the process. Feedback isn't just for finished work. Many teachers only provide feedback at the end of the completed task, after a test, an essay, a project, and so on. But the most effective feedback is actually given during the creation process, because it gives students the chance to shift and pivot their work in the moment. Try to be present to offer feedback to students throughout every step of the process so they can put your suggestion into practice right away. Give feedback one-on-one. The best feedback is given on the personalized, individual level rather than addressed to an entire group. Studies show that when feedback given to a whole group, most of the group members' natural assumption is that the feedback applies to everyone else, so they aren't likely to take it into consideration for themselves. By offering personal, one-on-one feedback, you are showing your students that you are aware of what they are doing on an individual level and that you are there to support them. Allow time for questions and discussion. Sometimes the feedback we offer students may not resonate completely with their first time around. By offering students a chance to ask questions about feedback, we can give them an opportunity to understand it with greater depth. Discussing their feedback, either with a teacher or a group of peers, can also be a great way to help students consider their feedback beyond the surface level. Give feedback based on the concept understanding, not task completion. It's easy to measure student success based on the whether or not students did the thing you asked them to do. But is this really an accurate measure of learning? Often, the task we set for students is closely related to the concepts we want them to learn, but the two are not synonymous. It may be that students understand the concept perfectly, but weren't able to execute the task exactly as outlined. So next time you are making a project rubric, it might be worth asking yourself whether eye contact with the audience during the book report is a true measure of students' understanding of the book. Now, apart from all the factors mentioned above, you can remind yourself to give feedback linked to the crimson rose. Each letter has a meaning attached to it, which is as follows. C, constructive, it must be positive and allow for the development. R, relevant, it must be related to the behavior, outcome, and result under review. I, informative, useful for future reference and giving an insight into the performance. M, manageable, something the learner can control themselves. S, specific, give reasons for the grade, mark, criticism, etc. O, open, always be honest, don't avoid difficult conversations. N, non-judgmental, be aware of unconscious bias. R, recall, learner and assessor must be able to link the feedback to performance answer. O, observe, observations should be recorded to assist in recall. S, substantiate, there must be a reason for the assessment, score, or mark given. And E, the last one, explain, let students know what would have improved their submission, even if it was good. How can they be better? Okay, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I think feedback, yes, feedback is the important, yes, the most important part of the lesson. We should always provide our students with the constructive feedback so they can understand, they can improve their understanding and learning process. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, dear teacher.
You are the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
As always, you are
Yeah,
perfect.
Thank you for presenting on such an important topic. We all know that giving feedback it's very important in the teaching process because it gives students a chance to improve.
Yes.
They gain an opportunity to analyze what they do right or wrong, how they can improve. Thank you.
Yes.
What
Thank
is this
you.
very important fact? Yes, thank you so much for this.
Thank you very much.
Continue the very important, excellent job.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to invite our guest speaker from Romania, Rusanoana Raluca. She's a Romanian teacher in secondary school number 195, Bucharest. She's a global speaker, translator of the books Learning to Live Together, Learning to Play Together, editor of the book Wyvern Hello by Ioana Negu. She is involved in many national and international programs like Backup 2, learning about forests, climate change, the harmony of nature, Hour of Code, peace education, heavenly culture, restoration of light, Erasmus Plus, junior achievement, and so on. So welcome, dear Rusan. The stage is yours.
Learning to Live Together. It's an international program involved in our school. I choose this program to present today because in this last year, I think it's important to know to live together, to go to peace, not to war. Slogan, it's from Arigato International, building a better world for children. The program is an international, promotes ethics education. Arigato International works with people from different religions and cultural backgrounds to promote children's rights and well-being at all levels, from the grassroots to the global. Promote spaces and opportunities to nurture values and ethics in children.
Can you change your slide, please?
Yes, yes.
What?
Your
Just
slide
change
here.
your slide, please.
You can see my slides?
Yes, only
You can see, but it's not moving. Okay.
Too small?
If you want, you can share again. Just
okay. Maybe it's a problem. I can't.
Yes,
Yes,
this is.
now,
Mhm.
Okay. Now you can see.
it's okay. Yes, we can see.
Okay. Learning to live together promotes spaces and opportunities to nurture values and ethics in children and young people within the framework of the child rights to education, as stated in the UN Convention of the Rights of the Child. It utilizes an innovative approach to interfaith and intercultural learning in a value-based and quality education program for children and young people. The Ethic Education Initiative aims to nurture values and ethics to empower children in order to create a world of greater justice, peace, and dignity. It envisions a world where children are equipped to make ethical decisions, to nurture their spirituality, and to transform their communities together based on values that promote respect for their own and others' culture and beliefs. The objectives aims to promote ethics and quality education, offer children opportunities to develop their spirituality, advocate respect for people of different religions and cultures, support global citizenship education and a culture of peace, empower and involve children and youth. Resources, posters, CDs, stories, books, simulation games, Kokoro, ethics education in Romania. We have a trainer in 2015, Laura Molnar, who became a driving force behind the implementation in Romanian formal education system. She found the opportunity to systematically implement the LTLT manual in a Romanian formal education sector. Her endeavor was supported by Solmentes Association in partnership with Arigato International from Geneva and the UNESCO National Commission in Romania. We have here some pictures from our activities. We are working in small groups. There are two classes, the 5th C and the 5th F. Still working together in the 8th class in the same project. Working together. There are some pictures of teachers. We have a community of practice. We celebrate...
Dear Rusan, try again move your slide. We see only one slide, I don't know.
One and the same, yeah.
Okay.
Because we see your very nice presentation.
I don't know, maybe it's a problem with internet.
It's okay. Okay, it's okay. Don't
Okay,
worry.
dear, just continue.
Yes.
I share again. I try to share again. You can see now?
Yes.
Yes.
We celebrate International Day of Poverty last year with the 5th class. In this picture is Laura. We celebrate too the International Peace Day on September last year. I think Learning to Live Together is a very interesting program for children who learn to live together and develop one of the 4 pillars of learning. The teacher must be involved in programs like this one to make a better world. Thank you.
Yes, dear, you are right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Rusan. It's a very important topic about raising cultural awareness, yes? right? About raising cultural awareness.
Right.
We must teach our students this topic. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to invite a teacher from Azerbaijan, again, Asiet Pachalova. She has 18 years of work experience. She's also an NC State University certificate program graduate in 2022. She has started a Just Speak project in her region, and one of her students is a recent Flex program winner. She's actively involved in encouraging her colleagues to register for media literacy program for young teachers. And she has been awarded excellent instructor of seeking contributions to SCO Junior Culture Ambassadors Storytelling event. So welcome, dear. Okay, you can start. Can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So you have already told everything about me, Miss Shalala. Thank you. And I want only add that I live in very, very remote region of Azerbaijan, far from capital Baku. Our region is just on the border of Georgia. Those who are from Georgia might heard about our region. It's called Balakan. Maybe you heard about it. So we are neighbors. Okay. I hope you are well, because it's impossible not to be good in such an environment. I want to start my speech with great thanks. This is my first time on this platform. Very useful information is shared here, and teachers are encouraged to speak in English in front of the audience. So as I live in the remote region, so I also don't want to miss any chance. When the same thing happened to me too, when Shalala teacher announced about the next online meeting, I decided, yes, I will also share my thoughts this time with my colleagues. And I believe that this will be a very good experience for me and for everybody. And I am grateful to IIU for creating such an opportunity for us. It's a very friendly environment. Thank you, everybody, again. Today, I want to share my thoughts about listening and repetition. So they come from both what I read and from my experience as a teacher. In general, it seems that learning a language is not a science. So it's just a habit. Why it's thought so? We know that every person speaks at least one language. Is it right? So this is his or her mother tongue. A person does not need to know nouns or adjectives or some word order in order to speak his or her mother tongue. There are, so we know so many people who speaks in their mother tongue without knowing just any grammar rules. Let me give you some examples. Let's take kids. So about they are 3 years old, they start talking. They don't know any rules, right? Even people with mental disabilities speak their mother tongue very well. From here, we can say that language is not a science. Of course, academic field is different. But if we search ways for speaking, it's not important just to sit and memorize the rules for years, during years. These little children listen to their surroundings for a long time and finally start talking. It's very interesting. How can we learn a foreign language? So there is only one way. We must surround ourselves with English language, and we have to make it our lifestyle. But how? Not everyone has a chance to travel abroad, so it's not easy to find a native speaker to take lessons every day. How can we do it? If the learners have the most elementary knowledge of the language, if they can read and understand the simplest text, they can solve the rest by listening. You know, our students already have a certain grammatical background or vocabulary base, but they still can't speak fluently. Here, I want to say, how to say, if we can't go abroad, so we can bring English atmosphere to our place. Does it make sense? Okay, so everyone can listen to different videos to their level. I'd like to emphasize here, it's not necessary to set aside special time and make a plan for this. There is no need just to sit and study like in school. You can listen to any material while working, while waiting in the traffic jam, or just listening, or just walking in the garden. But at the beginning, it's better if we don't change the listening text too often. It's useful to listen to the same video multiple times. So sentences that are listened to and repeated over and over again do not leave the memory. So the structure of those sentences remains in the student's active memory. And when necessary, these words come to our speech. So repetition is very important. If we are talk about speech, let's not to forget just to repeat while listening. We can imagine this situation like this: from ear to speech, just from ear to speech, listen and repeat. And we have to repeat what we hear out loud. It's also very important. At this time, both pronunciation and the correct usage of the rules, all processes are going on at the same time. I also tell my students, so watch the same video for a week. Don't get bored. After listening it twice, you will definitely understand everything. And you don't want to listen anymore. Okay, I agree, I understand. But are you able to change these sentences into
I guess our dear teacher, she has connection problems.
Yes, but she's very wow.
She was great. It was her first time.
Yes.
She was very anxious, but she was great, actually.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Okay, we can invite and
Next guest, yes.
yes.
Okay, dear teacher from Turkey, Gülbin Özdemir Altıgöz. She has 10 years of work experience as an EFL teacher. She's a TESOL advanced practitioner, and right now she's working on her master's thesis. Please, this stage is yours, dear Gülbin. Welcome.
So welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
She's first time with us.
No. It's not. It's second.
Yeah,
Oh.
last year she presented.
Great.
Yeah. So I think you're just seeing my screen right now, right?
Yes, we can see.
Full screen is very.
Yeah. Okay. So that's nice, and we can start right now. Okay. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And I should say I feel so delighted right now and privileged to be here with you tonight. And it's, of course, evening for me right now in Turkey. And thank you for your invitation, by the way, and organizing such a wonderful and amazing event. And it's a pleasure to be with you right now. So thank you. So I'm going to start my presentation just in a minute. But I'm not quite sure if you just see my presentation like this, so I'm gonna switch. I think there's a problem with the slide sharing. Maybe it's because of the Zoom or anything like that. I don't know. It's technical, so I'm not really good at technical issues. So sorry for that. So maybe we can do it like this. Better?
Yes, it's quite better.
Okay, thank you. All right, so what do we have in today's menu? So we have the definition of activity-based teaching, because my title was about that, activity-based teaching. And also the second topic will be about why and when to use ABT. And I'm going to give you some samples from my own classes, because I find really practical and interesting to see and to observe some samples from realistic classes. I mean, for example, we had, the samples from Laura, and it was quite cool. And my dearest colleague from Georgia, and they were so cool. So I find it quite practical and functional to see and witness so many samples from all over the world. And we're going to close our speech, but I'm not quite sure if we got time for question and A, but I just included them. So, okay, that's me. Self-intro. I'm from Turkey, and I am living in Antalya right now. So I'm an English teacher. We call it like EFL, English Language Teaching as a Foreign Language Teacher. So I've been working for 10 years. Now I am teaching gifted and talented students for more than a year, actually, at a science and art center. So maybe you've heard of this kind of school, maybe you're not. So I'm going to briefly explain what is it like to be a teacher at a Science and Art Center. It's called Science and Art Center because it's a center where we have gifted and very talented students, and it's a public school actually. But the thing is, they have the classes during the weekend or in the evening. So, and we actually are very careful, and we just put the emphasis on the activities rather than teaching the branches, like for example science or languages or anything else, like IT or something like that. So we just put the emphasis on the right activity rather than teaching. Okay, so I'm a TESOL advanced practitioner and also PDC facilitator for a nationwide project, and it's called English Together project. And I am currently not working but struggling on my master's thesis in the field of ELT. So that's me, like brief information for you. Okay, so what is activity-based teaching? So as you can see, there's a definition, and it is like activity-based teaching is a method adopted by teachers to emphasize their techniques of teaching through action in which the learners take part in their own learning journey. And that's the most important and most healthy way to teach, actually. If you're a teacher and you just, teach like, go in front of the board and you teach something, it's nothing for, new generations. So you have to facilitate the teaching. You have to be a facilitator in order to, include your participants or students or learners into your learning teaching journey. Okay, so how is it done? Activity-based learning can be done in a number of ways. So they can be designed based on the subject to be taught, or it can last for the whole duration of a class. This is what I like most because I do that like so often. And the most common way of activity-based teaching is through group work or pair work or group discussion, where students are divided into some groups and activities are assigned to them, like task-based language teaching. It's really similar. Maybe maybe you heard, I don't know. So why and when to use ABT, activity-based teaching? Why do we use when to use? Okay, it helps the students to first discover their own capacities and realize what they actually are capable of achieving. This is quite important for my students because as we call them like gifted, they already know about their learning journey and their own, they can monitor and also they can do whatever they like with their learning. But in order to involve them in the teaching, so you have to discover, you have to make them discover their own capacities and realize what actually they are capable of achieving. And also it helps the students to give chances to express themselves. Like if you have some learners, like auditory learners or visual learners, etc., in the class, it's, varies the activities and, the chances to make your students be in the center of their learning. And also it helps the students to explore their own fields of interest and needs. And also it supports students to learn by doing, like involving them in a stress-free learning atmosphere. This is quite important. And also, of course, eventually it's fun because we couldn't deny it. So it's fun, of course. Samples from my own classes. So we're gonna have lesson starters. First of all, I find it quite practical and functional, this one, warm-ups and icebreakers, because no matter what, I start my lessons, I start my classes with a small, brief and short warm-ups and icebreakers, because they come from their own classes and they come from their own schools to the evening classes. And that is my class. And I just, want them to warm up a little bit, like physically and mentally. And then we're gonna go through the actual class. So this is a picture of my students. We were having a vocabulary game and they were having so much fun. And that was a warm up. And okay, so activity-based teaching looks like this actually, because I have the groups and I assign tasks and they have the small duration of time, period of time. So they have to finish their task all together. They have to decide, they have to talk, they have to negotiate, they have to, work as a group. And this is quite cool if you have time, because I have 2 hours of instruction per week, per class. So, and I want to use it so efficiently, and this is a great way to do that. So you're gonna see another group. So we were having a introduction, promotion of the city's task, I can call it like this. So they had 2 groups and they just started to work together. They decided to work together and they were just working, and then they eventually presented their presentation, and it was quite cool actually. And we have here, you're gonna see they are working on a monthly planner, and that was the activity because they had to put some important days and important important days to be celebrated on the monthly planner. So we did it that way, and it was quite important and so nice to see that they found so many practical and important days to be celebrated other than our cultural and very important days to be celebrated. Okay, so sometimes I just have some guest classes, internationally based. So we have virtual meetings with them. For example, they had a 40-minute talk with their peers from the USA in this picture. So they had a lot of fun, and they were so shocked and amazed by their speaking skills, because they just, they met their peers online. Even it's online, it's quite really nice opportunity to give them some chances to speak actually in a realistic and authentic way. And that was really cool to see them, to observe them speaking English with their peers in the USA. So, okay, I want to thank you for listening to me. That was so precious. And thank you for your invitation again. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you, Dia, for your presentation. I get such powerful and positive vibes from you that if I were a student, I would like to be in your class.
Thank you so much.
I also.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, dear. And now, teacher Asiyat, you can continue your speech, please.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. So I was talking about the repetition. So I also tell my students that watch the same video for a week. Just don't get bored. After listening to it twice, you will definitely understand everything, and you don't want to listen anymore. Okay, I understand you. So are you able to change these sentences in this text into speech when you need them? No. You see, the same vocabulary and grammar are in your passive memory. So if we give you a test, you will get good grades. I'm sure it. But is it our purpose? No. Just we try to activate our speech. Since there are no native speakers of English around us, the only way is to listen to them and repeat what we heard aloud. In this case, the words we have already heard are activated in our memory and translated into our speech when we need them. There is no need to sit and learn word lists by heart anymore. This vocabulary remains in our memory in context in the sentences. You see, listen to the lesson repeatedly help us to think in English and automatically speaking. So repetition is very important to become fluent. We need to speak English fluently without translating it in our head. So this is where the repetition comes in. If the learners repeat the same vocabulary and grammar many times, they will become the master of this vocabulary and grammar. So they will be able to use those words automatically without thinking about grammar rules, without translating vocabulary in their heads. After lots of repetition, eventually they start to think English in their head and improve their speaking skills. Okay, my dears, you see, learning language is not easy, but at the same time is not difficult. So language is a long-lasting and patient required process. Dears those who want to learn the languages, do not focus on the result. The result will come one day, don't worry. Just patiently listen every day and repeat what you listen to. Focus on the process. Listen 2-3 hours a day. Turn it into your lifestyle and be patient. One day you will speak too. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, Dia. Thank you very much for enlightening us. You know, I absolutely agree with you that learning any foreign language requires patience and motivation most of all. And we have to turn it into a fun and engaging process if we want to succeed. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank
you. And now our dear professor from Croatia, dear Nada Ratkovic, has joined us. Welcome, dear Nada. Please.
Greetings from Croatia. I come little, but I didn't open my camera. I was out with my parents today, Sunday, and you know, we have so many things to do at Sunday, so I come a little bit late. What to say? I want to congratulations to you, dear Shalala, for this amazing conference with the brilliant, eminent speakers, to our great Dr. Inga for here, for this, for all doing this. I listen here, our great Gulbin and all. I started listening from Laura and all were great. I didn't hear Dr. Mobile, but I know that he make it also great.
Yes.
So what will I let me give one presentation. I don't know to talk shortly, but I will try. I think that this is my presentation. You cannot here you cannot find nothing on my desktop, but okay, yes. Today I will say something about the innovative thinking in education. When I say innovative thinking, then I mean I will say something about the design thinking. So coming from Croatia, working in a high school, working on the pardon, working on the university. Here at IIU, the president of Research Center, also here the co-founder of IIU Europe. IIU is doing tremendous good work, as you see, with all our core members and our Sir Piyush on the head of IIU. So something is not doing good here. From Europe, a lot involved in the e-twinning projects, in Erasmus projects, in United Nations projects, in European other things. So little for the motivation. Are we on the real path? Is our youth in Europe learning enough? Will they have a bright future? So they need a special way of thinking, as our Steve Jobs say. Most people make the mistake or thinking design is what it looks like, but people think it's a winner. So make it look good. How can we make something to look good? And this is the way we need to design something to look good. So what is design thinking? How to build empathy at the students? What is the problem? What is the solution? We need to have the prototype. So our students today need to work on the patterns and work on the innovation, especially in the subjects like entrepreneurship. Laura also have the training firm, so that subject is amazing subject for us, for the students, because they start from the idea to the realization. And today we have so many leading brands like Apple, Google, Samsung, and everything what is in connection with the mobiles, with the smartphones, with artificial intelligence or metaverse, ChatGPT, everything that is for the students very interesting. So why design thinking today is really popular? Because you see, it is a part of the project-based learning. Our all classes are the PBL. They need to be the PBL, because if we don't make the project-based learning, our students will have a motivation only for a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and after that they will not listen us. So we are doing so many experiments, focuses. So students always go through different types of the progress, and this is the meaning of the design thinking. So you see, you have these 5 phases. You need to define the thing, then empathize, ideate, prototype, and test it. Sometimes when you make a test and you see that the prototype is not good, you can go back. So coming with the idea is not easy. We write our ideas. We need to write our ideas. We make brainstorming. We make brainwriting. We use so many different methods for generating the idea and to bringing them to the realization. So how we are thinking. This is the best way what we need to do with our students, and this type of the project-based learning is very important. And when we talk about the well-being, this is really good for discovering our brain, our thinking, giving to us freedom to create something. So this is really a big inspiration for other and giving the solution. We have different types. We have this solution-based and problem-based thinking. So I took here an example from this professor of architecture from the University of the Sheffield, Professor Brian Lawson. He said this. This is a type of how designer can think. So if the science adopt a technique to try to make this different series of designs, then he wants to maximize his information and giving this with the combination of different type of blocks. So this is the type of this thinking. And here we have this how designers need to think like a designer. You don't need to be a designer to make designer thinking. So you can select the blocks, you can make disorder, you can use different colors, you can make different types of the combination, and that will bring you new solutions. So the key points here we can put in the 6 steps. So this is first that we need to make our research, and we need to do this for the user and focus on this emotional part. Emotional part is very important, how we are feeling in that moment. Then we can identify, we can define the problem, and we want to solve this. So taking these brainstorming sessions, developing the prototypes, making the models, making the sketches. So different things you are testing, you are repeating. You can repeat a lot of things, a lot of the processes, and you can implement your idea always and take it for the business strategy. So these are the 4 principles of the design thinking. As I said, first is a human rule. That is our rule. We can make this activity in the nature and trying to find it from the nature. Then this ambiguity role is inventable. That is for us important because there is no limit for your knowledge, and our students love this when they don't have the limit. Then they are more creative. Then we can do a lot of different types. This last month I'm doing so much things, and we, like example, my students want to make a machine for producing money, but not the machine of producing money what we already have. We have very innovative way of thinking. So I'm sure that if we come to the realization that we can also make it in we can try, and we will apply for the intellectual property. So this is the way of learning. Design is redesign. Technology is everyday changing, but we need to be step by this technology. Yesterday, like example, yesterday I was thinking about this virtual world a lot. So yesterday we lost 2 great educators. We lost 2 great educators who gave their life for the education. I was really very sad, and I was thinking about this virtual world, how many bad things this virtual world is also bringing to us. So we need to do more things in life, and in this virtual world, we can do this only for the conferences, this for the main things, but the whole work and everything really don't need to be virtual, because that is not a real world. So design thinking is a non-linear iterative process, and we will use it always to understand, to make the challenges, to redefine the problems, to create solutions. And it is not exclusive to the designers. So who can be all? All that can be freelancer. You don't need to be an entrepreneur. Don't you need to be a leader? So you can make this design. It is an approach also. You can apply it everywhere. And today, I know that I don't have a lot of time, and I will stop here and once again say that we have these phases, but repeat them: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test. And Professor Nada Ratkoch will say that here one phase is missing, and this phase of missing is coming to it is a making something to repeat. So if we want to understand this more deeper, we will give this to the user, we will make these solutions, and then we will have our product. So this is only one, I can say, one of the way of thinking, this design thinking. So it is very important to do it, especially because we have students with special needs. So this can be a way of learning, and for the gifted students and for the students with special needs. When you have a student who is for inclusive, who is autist, like example, autist students who are autist, they are brilliant thinkers. How many things that they can do. Maybe they cannot learn something, they cannot remember, but they can bring their ideas in realization. And that is very important. And I always say that students, we need to maximize our energy. We need to give a lot to them because they can be successful in many other things. So thank you. Thank you for listening. I always love to be here at Azerbaijan, to Georgia, everywhere. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear Professor Nada. Thank you very much for such an interesting presentation.
I little make it shorter because I know that
Yes.
we cannot do it
But still,
long.
it was very interesting and informative. Thank you.
Thank
You know,
you.
this
Thank
topic
you
is
so
really
much.
important because
You're
innovation.
brilliant, Professor Nada. Oh my God.
Innovation in education is very
Thank you
important
so much, dear.
because
Thank you.
it helps us to foster students with the relevant knowledge, which will help them to survive in our modern world, the world that is constantly changing. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
now I'd like to invite our next speaker, Dia Mizeo Beradze from Georgia.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, she is a lead teacher of information and communication technologies and the English language, Microsoft Innovative Educator expert, English language educational club mentor, IIU translator in Georgia, IRIX certified trainer, British Council online teacher community facilitator, awarded it winner, member of the governing board of the STEM Teachers Association, author and regular contributor of educational and methodical articles worldwide. So welcome, Dia.
Hello, of course, hello, and I'm very happy to be with you today. One more thing what I would like to say is that because of this kind of a technical issue, it is not able to switch on my camera. I'm sorry once again for this, some kind of problem, technical problem. Yeah, let me start my presentation and I will share it. And while I share my screen, I will present the topic of my conversation. This session will be about the teaching methodologies and teaching techniques, maybe what are very, very useful and quite up to date for 21st century. It means that for me, for example, for the one of the teacher, it is quite challenging for me to be a teacher and to be always able to keep up with every single issues and problems maybe. So today I will talk about the 21st century challenges in education, some kind of methods and strategies of teaching. First of all, I would like to say that there are many things. So there are many attitudes maybe or strategies or methodologies that are very crucial and very useful for 21st century teachers, but all of them has this some kind of mutual things, and one of them is the cooperative learning or maybe cooperative teaching. It means that we as teachers, we ought to try to help our students to have the strong communication skills with each other. Because as we know, and everyone agrees with that, doing something alone or without partner is not very valuable and profitable for the 21st century leader, the people. And that's why I would like to say that it will be the one of the most important skill to give them, our students, our learners, the ability to think cooperatively, to have the relationship and collaboration with their maybe classmates, yes. And next thing is one more important, one of the most important thing for teaching in the 21st century learners is the project-based learning. As we already mentioned in the previous sessions or maybe online conferences, project-based learning is one of the most valuable method or strategy of teaching, and it really helps our students to be self-confident, to really improve their skills, to have the skills which are very close to everyday life, their everyday lives. And that's why the most important thing is project-based learning as well as a strategy, teaching strategy. And last thing what I would like to say some words is the gaming, and use gaming or games, educational games in teaching process. So as we already know, we can see the question, what is the gamification? Yeah, it is the application of game playing elements to non-game environments. Yes, maybe we meant the classroom, which allows social media users to learn rewards from everyday activities such as ordering coffee or watching a movie or something like that. In this case, I always would like to mention maybe Kahoot play game, as mostly all educators know about it. It is really useful and very fun for our students. Of course, it has so many positive sides and advantages. It encourages all students to be involved in the classroom activities. It gives some kind of it kicks students in order to be active to be active learners during the lesson, and it is yes, quite important thing. Let's mention that it is very, very important for us. Also, it's the way to have the real accessibility in the classroom, and every student will have real willing to be involved in the classroom activities. But unfortunately, as every strategy or maybe as every methodology has some kind of negative sides as well. Or maybe how to say the disadvantages, so gamification has the disadvantages, such as for example overestimation or maybe addiction on the game. If we imagine for example using of Kahoot, it is easy to understand that the students would like to have these game activities all the time during the lesson. But we also know that we as teachers have so many things to do together, and it is impossible to have the games during the lessons. Yeah. And this is one of negative side of this strategy. Also, the next negative side is the low attention economic for learners. Sometimes they absolutely don't think about the some kind of tasks or important tasks which are supposed to be reached after the lesson. They just play and don't bother about the questions or the correct answer or something like that. And it is also the disadvantage of the gamification. And one of the I think most important negative side of gaming the lesson or maybe teaching process is the neglecting assessment, because sometimes we do not use maybe at this moment I say that it is not a fully negative side. Maybe it is quite good, because the students don't think or don't worry about the assessment and just feel free and just have fun. But sometimes it's important, as you know, to have the correct and appropriate assessment systems or maybe rubrics in order to be to have the students in a shape. Yeah. Yes, it was my speech about the 21st century challenges and some kind of teaching strategies. Well, I would like to say some words about it. Thank you for your attention. If you have some questions or comments, maybe I would be very happy to see or to respond to you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, dear. Thank you for your interesting presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, dear Shalala,
Thank you so
dear
much.
Inga. Yes, of course, every listeners and of course, dear Peush Pandit sir, thank you for this session and your ongoing and very important work.
Thank you for being
our
with us.
educators and students. Yes,
Thank you,
of course.
dear.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
amazing
Thank you.
teacher. I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Keep
you, my dear
shining,
Inga.
keep smiling. Thank you so much.
Keep doing the great
Congratulations.
work.
It was very amazing presentation.
And
Thank
now,
you very much.
yes, dear, thank you. And now I would like to invite our next speaker, Aynur Murtuzaliyeva from Azerbaijan. She has 5 years of work experience. She's a British Council Learning Hub teacher and teacher trainer. She's a TKT and IELTS certified teacher of English in Zakatala region of Azerbaijan.
Thank you.
Please,
for this.
dear.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, I'm very thankful for you for your invite, and it's very nice to all have you here. Thank you very much for your these initiatives. It will be, I think that it will be more beneficial for teachers among Georgia and Azerbaijan as well. So may I share the screen? Am I available to share? I guess yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Today I would like to talk about vocabulary, teaching vocabulary. Okay. Most of the time, we teachers somehow struggle when it comes to teach new vocabulary because, when we say the levels of English, it depends on the vocabulary we use, the grammar we use, or students use. So our main topic, our main idea is to teach more vocabulary, to teach more advanced vocabulary. And I'm sure that it is not easy to just learn by heart and learn, just use them in their speech for speakers, as teachers, for us as well. Okay, let's start teaching vocabulary. Generally, here is just definition. Vocabulary refers to words or multi-word words units that have a common meaning. Okay. Could you hear my voice? There's another voice, I guess.
Yes, dear, we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
When it comes to saying types of vocabulary, there are actually other types as well, but I just put 5 of them: single words, set phrases, variable phrases, phrasal verbs, and idioms. Instead of just teaching the word home, for example, itself, we can make it a little bit complicated and interesting, for example, such as home task, to do home tasks, or go home, reach home, I don't know. Okay, somehow if we use some idioms, if you make some set phrases, in that case our students are more likely to learn the words in a better way. So principles of teaching vocabulary, what is this? It is like what our teachers, we follow these rules most of the time in our classrooms, keeping just simple as possible and clear, no complicated explanations, because if it is especially a new word, in that case teachers should be simple and clear in order to explain that in a better way. So it should be relate the present teaching to past knowledge by showing the pattern. We need to use oral and written presentation, and it should be on the smart board, I don't know, just boards. Or we need to give most attention to the words that are already partly known. Then we need to build other vocabulary. Then if the word is the frequent word, in that case, we need to like remind our like students that they need to learn the word and they use their when they speak. Okay. But if we bring some unknown or little known related words, in that case, teacher probably will like fail, because when there is lots of unknown vocabulary, unknown synonyms or opposites, in that case, students start to struggle. So, as I said, for principles of learning, recycling, it means new vocabulary must be regularly like recycled, revised among students. Then motivation, which really we need to increase when we start to teach. If there is no evaluation as assessment, in that case, we will not like teach in an efficient way. Because if there is no feedback, if there is no teacher comment, in that case, maybe they misuse the word, they may mispronounce the word in that case. So we need to assess and evaluate. And when it comes to communication, in order to communicate clearly and effectively in the like right contents, so we need to use the right vocabulary. We need to explain our students so. This is the rule. We say we need to say, repeat, translate, draw example. We can write down some examples, ask questions, or ask opposite synonyms or collocations and visual aids. But here I have some samples. For example, visual aids. We can use some, I don't know, toys. We can use some pictures. We can use some videos. I don't know, some slide shares. Okay. But what I want to say here, you see, this is the old method that we already have used in our like teaching during teaching times. Let's say, for example, here teacher tries to try to explain the word market, and she have some kind of questions related to market. Do you live near the market? What do they sell there? Okay, some questions related to the market in order to use this word in different contexts. So what I want, actually, what I advise to teachers as a new teacher, we are not like living in old age, let's say. So we are we are living a technologically driven world. So we need to, if we are available, if we have some availability to the internet, it will be far more better, I guess, if we can use some online resources such as vocabulary.com, or we can use WordWall as well, or here EasyNote or visual words. So here I would like to show you one of them. If I have time, I can show all of them actually. Okay, for example, in visualize word, for example, if we write down home, okay, you will it will visualize, and you will have more vocabulary related to the home. Okay, and in that case, this page, let's say this website, it really helps teachers to have more related like words. For example, home, home baked, home aids, home base. Okay, if you type, for example, bag, you will have completely different options. You see, is it visible?
Yes,
so
we can.
So this is one of the like website that I really try to use frequently when I teach. And next one I would like to show you as well. If you wish, if you're interested in, I can click the types links on the chat box. Just a minute.
Yes, please share them with us.
Then we have EasyNote cards. In the EasyNote cards, for example, there are lots of topics. You can choose one of. First of all, you need to register here. You need to choose one of topic, and here you can learn them day by day, week by week, as you wish. Okay, you need to set some timetable. After that, you are going to learn. I mean, your learners. Okay. Then next one. Okay, vocabulary web trainer, here we have. Okay, for example, different means, there are lots of sentences, okay, and you can choose them. just related to your topic or lesson. For example, different means two words, okay? One of them we need to click and they will show the answer. They will try to explain. If there is answer, if the answer is not true, in that case, they will explain it. It is also too beneficial, like website for students to learn new vocabulary and use them in a right context. The next one is word wall. Here, maybe you are familiar with them. Here, I chose that not for English, I chose for Azerbaijani language here. People who learn Azerbaijani with the help of English language. So here there are lots of like versions, flashcards, words, phrases that only by registration, your students also as you teachers, you can use it very easily. All of them are free. All of them are really superficial and super important when you teach new like topics, new vocabulary. Because I personally believe that actually during the experience of my life, I understand that without the practice, learning language, learning vocabulary, it is just nonsense. Okay, well, you can learn lots of vocabulary, you can learn them by heart, but if there is no practice, in that case you will fail. So this is what I want to just state for today. Thank you very much for your time and energy. Good luck to all of you. Have a great night.
Thank you, Dia.
Bye-bye.
As you said, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us all of those useful resources, links. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Thank you too.
Yes, and now I'd like to invite our next speaker, Mohd Zuber, Assistant Professor, Education in Jamia Millia Islamia. Welcome, dear Professor.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you, all of you. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers who invited me at this platform today. Actually, today I was not well. I told Dr. Inga because I was not feeling well because I have fever and body pain like that. But now I am feeling a little better, so I will, start my talk.
We are happy to hear that, dear Professor.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen.
Professor Zuber, you look great. Nobody will say that you are ill.
Yes, really. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Yeah, one second.
Not coming yet.
I think
many of us experience connection problems.
Yes, I think the bad network sometimes didn't give to share.
One second. I think maybe some issue. 1 second.
Yes, finally. Great.
It is visible now?
Yes.
Okay. So actually, I am working in the field of special education. Today, I will talk about how we can deal with, children with special needs, specifically learning disability, because I am working in the field of learning disability. And, as we all know, you can see the picture, all, students are individual, all students have individual differences. And, children with special needs, as we all know, who have special needs, all have unique abilities and certain personal limitations as well. So no two children are the same in the class. When we are teaching in the inclusive setup, different kind of students are there. Some have ADHD problems, some have autism, some are girls in the class, some students have come from different backgrounds, they have different languages. So here in India, I am living here in India, so it's a very diverse country. So diversity in the classroom. So no two children are the same in the same class. So when we talk about special kids, so we have to deal with them, according to their need and ability in the class. And today I will discuss about learning disability a little bit. So as we all know, what is learning disability? Learning disability, is the heterogeneous group. It is an umbrella term, and it is a processing problem. Students are unable to, process the information. They are not interpret. They are not able to interpret the information. They have lack in, speaking, reading, or writing, or mathematical problems. So lots of common disabilities in learning disabilities like dyscalculia, reading problem, or dysgraphia, motor action problem, or the writing problem. Dyscalculia is a mathematical problem. Dyspraxia are the motor action problems. They have problem in fine motor. They are fine motor problem they have, or the gross motor problem they have. Students are not able to hold the pen, and poor eye hand coordination. They are not able to move from one place to another place. And the another disability is a developmental aphasia. They are not expressive in nature. They are not receptive in nature. So these are the problems. And learning disability, lots of people think that learning disability people have lower IQ level. No, most of the students have the common IQ level, or the normal IQ level, or they have good IQ level. So they are physically normal in the class, and average and above average intelligence they have in the class. So when we when we conduct assessment of these students, we will find that normal intelligence. And but there are lots of comorbid conditions means lots of associated problems with LD students in the class, like attention problem. Some have obsessive compulsive disorder. They some students have ADD, and some students have behavioral issues. Some students have organization problem. Some students have memory problem. So lots of problems they have in the class. You can observe as a teacher. But as a teacher, we can't label them. It is a process by which we can label them. For example, as a teacher, I will assess the my students, their academic records, their non-academic records. I will observe in the class. I will take the help of their parents. I will make their case study, and I will conduct some standard test with the help of psychologist. And finally doctor will label them, how much difficulty, or how much percentage they in the problem, how much percentage of dyslexic student have, or how much problems they are facing. So there is no basic reason for learning disability right now. All the research is suggested that no real cause. It may be hereditary problem, it may be medical problem, or the environmental problem. Sometimes prenatal stage, when the mother is pregnant, lots of problems she's facing, like emotional problem or the social problem, or she had taken medicine without prescription, or some kind of trauma or emotional problem. Lots of problems they have. So lots of problems during the natal stage, during the pregnancy. Sometimes after the lots of problems after the postnatal stage. Lots of bacterial or the fungal or bacterial infections, like jaundice, or other typhoid, or the different kind of fevers. So there is no specific one reason for this. So to dealing with the learning disability in my it is always challenging, because when we talk about types of disabilities in learning disabilities, so basically the dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, nonverbal LD students are there. So dyslexia means, reading problem. They reverse the letters. Sometimes they omit the letters, transposition of letters, pronunciation problem, or they are not able to, blend the sounds. Lots of problems in reading. So in dyscalculia, they have, mathematical problems. They are not able to recognize mathematical, concepts. They are not able to, perform the mathematical operations in the class. They are not able to recognize the mathematical languages like signs, and lots of signs we use, like percentage sign, like integration sign, differentiation sign, or any mental operation sign. Dysgraphia is the, writing disorder. They have problem in, writing. They are not able to hold the pen. They are not able to, they don't have good eye hand coordination, so they are not able to grip. So gripping problem is there, eye hand coordination problem is there. So alignment problem, spacing problem, the ratio of the letters are not good when they are writing. So lots of problem they face. Similarly, dyspraxia, motor action problem, like for example, lots of gross motor skills we perform in our daily life, lots of fine motor problems they face, like they are not able to play, games. They are not able to move from one place to another place. Movement and locomotion problem is there. And non-verbal LD, because they are verbally they are good, but social cues and the gestures and the social skills and the visual spatial, they are lacking in that social cues. They are lacking in other things. So but what is the problem of society? The problem of society is that uh, in any disability, first of all, we have to identify at the early stage, observe child milestones, because as a teacher, as educator, or as a parent, it's our duty to observe, child milestone as the early stage. Sometimes students are not able to speak. Sometimes students are not able to move. So it's parents' duty or it's a teacher's duty to observe their milestones in the language, in the physical area, in the intelligence area, all other areas. Secondly, the society is not accepting. Sometimes if parents have autistic child or a learning disabled child, their parents are not accepting them in the family, in the society. Thirdly, the accessibility problem in the society. There are no lots of special, for example, here in India, it's difficult to find schools in inclusive manner. In inclusive setup, we need special educators, physiotherapists, or games teacher, music teacher, occupational therapists. We need doctors. We need lots of multi you know uh, you know s- uh, multi sensory multi-disciplinary staff we need. So we have to make them independent in the society. So we have to provide need-based education in the class. So this is the importance of the, as it is important importance of special education. So firstly, this is the writing of the, writing of a child, of LD students. Lots of problems they have when they write. They have lots of problems. So as we told that dyslexia is a reading problem. So reading comprehension problem, spelling problem, writing, mathematics, lots of things you can observe. For example, letter reversals. D for B, they pronounce D for B, or B for D, dog for bog, or bog for dog. Reversals, they do tip for pit. Inversions, inversions, they do M and W, U and N. Transpositions, lots of transpositions, felt and left. Lots of substitutions they use. So this is the problem. This is the problem. Reversals like 6 to 9 or 16 to 61. So this kind of symptoms you can observe in such students. So this is the challenges in reading: confusion of similar words, difficulty using phonics, problem reading multi-syllable words. They have problem. They repetitions, transpositions, as I told earlier. So this kind of. So what we can do as a teacher, encourage students. Firstly, we have to encourage to pre-read a chapter before reading in the classroom. It is important. And students may benefit from using different colored highlighters, one for main ideas, one for key details. As a teacher, it's very useful. And multisensory approach work because LD students are visual learners. So when we show them PPTs, videos, pictures, flashcards, lots of things, we can show them, and that will definitely work them. And repetition skills, repetition is important because they have memory problem, they have organization problem. So we have to repeat the lessons again and again. We have to give them extra time, and we have to change their sitting arrangement in the class. And we can use small group teaching like peer tutoring. We can make groups in the class, and grouping is always beneficial. And when we make group, so always try to make a group beneficial, because high achievers, low achievers and medium students, we have to create a balanced group. And sometimes we can provide auditory material to them when they can listen. Lots of applications are there using a always try to engage them in the class. The interaction will be high, the learning will be taken place definitely. And lots of things. And speech to text software now we can use in the class. Speech to text software is very beneficial for dyslexic students. And audiobooks we can download and you can use. And systematic and sequential work, step by step, we have to teach them. We have to increase the difficulty level, uh, you know at a very slow pace, and building upon the skills, and try to make a good rapport with them, good connections. Lots of board games, puzzles, workbooks, computer games are there. You can use them. Play sound matching games, for example. Rhyming books are there, you can use according to them. And lots of literature, in which lots of stories and poems, you can use those things. And provide a use book, uh, colorful books, and large print books, and illustrations and picturization must be good there. And allow alternative forms for alternative notes to them in the class.
Again, connection problems, yes.
I think we lost him.
Yes.
I think.
Yes. So actually, it was so interesting to listen to this information.
Yes.
Okay. He joined us despite not feeling well. I really appreciate it. Yes.
Yes, I am also very appreciate this gesture. But yes,
Yes, he lost
you
the
are
connection.
yes,
No,
dear, you are
nothing.
actually
Yes.
lost.
Yeah.
Here he comes
Yes,
again.
yes,
He's
yes.
joining.
Professor
Yeah.
Zuber will finish it.
Welcome back, dear professor.
Hello, am I
We
audible?
hear you. Yes, you are, Professor Zuber.
Actually, some my laptop shut down suddenly. I don't know why. Uh, 1 second. ध्यान दिया.
What is Professor Zuber charging the laptop? Again, he entered.
I'm joining by my laptop.
You know, it's like we never give up. Yes, now it's okay. We can see you, dear Professor.
Please unmute yourself. Unmute.
Yeah, I unmuted. Yes. My screen is visible now or not?
It is.
It is,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Thank you. Sorry for interruption. Today, actually, I joined the conference, but I was not in the condition. Actually, my laptop was not charged. I think maybe. Sorry for that, but you know, in online conferences, some technical glitches sometimes we face.
Yes, it may happen.
Secondly, you know, I will talk about dyspraxia. As I, mentioned that dyspraxia is also a learning disability. And in dyspraxia, you know, students face fine motor and gross motor problem. So what is fine motor and gross motor? You know, how well the child use large muscles to coordinate the body. That is the, you know, fine motor. That is a gross motor. For example, the student can jump, throw the balls, and walking and running and maintaining balance. And the secondly, you know, the fine motor are how well, how, you know, controlled a students can use their fingers for gripping. And you know, gripping is important. Fingers, the use of fingers is too much important for a student in tying shoelaces, or you know, doing up buttons, or cutting out shapes, or eating food. You know, if he has to drink water from his bottle, so fine motor muscles. If he want to writing something, fine motor muscles they will use. So fine motor skills, we have to develop them. What we can do in the class, for example, as a teacher we can do many things in the class. You know, in India, you know, lots of, you know, resources problems sometimes in schools. So lots of things we can do as a teacher. Firstly, we have to identify the interest of the student. Secondly, for example, some activities I have mentioned there, for example, clothing fastening. For example, buttons that are supposed to go into the, you know, uh, uh, into buttonhole loops. You can use tablewares like knife, fork, spoon. These are the things they can use on the regular basis. Opening and closing food containers in class. Teacher can bring lots of, you know, containers or waste material from their home, and they can use, and they can improve their, you know, students fine motor skills. You know, twisting door knobs in class, lock and keys and slide and chains and keys, lots of things they can use in the class. Personal care also, you know, improve, like shaving, brushing teeth, doing hair, applying makeup, and putting on, you know, post back earrings, inserting contact lenses, bathing, showering. These are the skills. They can improve their fingers, how to control, how we can manage our eye-hand coordination and handwriting, holding a pen or pencil, printing basic, cursive writing, size of individual letters, lots of things. Needlework, some students have interest in needlework, so you can use threading a needle or making the correct size and consistent stitches. Video gaming is also beneficial in fine motor, thumbing the joystick, pressing keys in rapid succession, and watching the screen and operating the controller at the same time. So these are the things we can use in the class. Using a keyboard or musical instruments are very beneficial. Coordinating both hands to play the instrument and putting fingers in the right places or on strings over holes or on keys. And gross motor, as I told, that lots of sports activities we can use, like catching, jumping, or they can move on stairs, climb ladders, and we can use lots of games outside the classroom. So lots of things we can use. Lots of interesting things you can do. Play-Doh is very interesting application for them. Lots of puzzles are there for eye-hand coordination and fine motor gripping. And drawing, coloring, and painting, that is very beneficial for students for fine motor development. Kitchen tongs or tweezers you can use in the class, that is also beneficial. Some students take very much interest in bath time, so lots of toys they can use in bathtub. Sand play is always beneficial for such kids. And build with blocks and Lego, that they will do very benefit for them. So these are the things you can use in the class as a teacher, and this is not difficult if you have determination, and if you want to achieve your desired goal in your lesson plan or in your IEP. Another thing is that I will discuss is dyscalculia. In brief, dyscalculia is a mathematical problem, as I told you earlier. So students have lots of problems learning to count, struggle to connect a number to an object, such as three applies to groups of things like 3 cakes or 3 cars or 3 friends. So in primary school they have a mathematical problem like 6 plus 4 is equal to 10, but they have problem in that they don't understand the sign of plus or addition, the sign of multiplication or the division, or the greater than or the smaller than. They have problems in that. And in secondary school they have problem in charts and graphs. They have problem in percentage, in fractions, in decimals. They have problems in marketing. They have problems in distance, speed, and directions. They have problem in calculating the exactness of the calculations, and backward, or the lots of in brief we can say they have problem in calculation, and they have problem in arithmetic. They have problem in numbers. They have problem in shapes, lots of problems. So what we can do as a teacher in the class, because in mathematics, firstly, for dyscalculic students, math concepts are simply abstract. So try to, relate the problem with their real life. Try to give the real life examples to them, and talking through a problem or writing down in the sentence form can help with seeing relationship between the elements. Even, if they have a schema in their brain, we have to use the concrete things in the class firstly, and try to draw the problem. Drawing the problem can also help visual learners, because LD students are visual learners, to see relationship and understand concepts. So students can draw through the problem with images and reflect their understanding. So always draw those things in reality. You can use flashcard, pictures, charts, PPTs, and break tasks into subsets. Divide work into subsets, and step by step you can increase the difficulty level. Use real life examples, cues, and physical objects in the class. and review, because dyscalculic students struggle to retain math related information. It becomes hard to master new skills. So help keep information fresh and applicable to the new task. So activity based teaching is always work. Try to give organize activities. Like here is activity, for example, students have to fill. I get up, he has to fill on clock, and I have breakfast at what time. So lots of activity based teaching you can perform in the class. Lots of activities you can perform for such students. Use visual and auditory examples, also use real life situations, and do math problems on graph paper to keep the numbers in line. And don't use abstract things in front of them at the early stages, because they don't know many things. They are not able to interpret the information early. So, and allow students to reason aloud. And you can use color and chunks always help. Chunk and simplify the information. You can divide and multi-step the problem in the class. Reduce the number of assigned problems you can do. So it all depends upon teacher. I was, as an educator, it's my duty. I have to firstly identify which kind of learner he is or she is. According to the need and severity of the problem, I have to choose my strategy and method. And every method is not suitable for each and every student. So every learner is different in the class. When every learner is different, so every strategy is different. So in inclusive class, in a special class, in a special classroom, sometimes I have to use different kind of strategies for different students. My way of representation must be different. Representation is very important. Sometimes we can represent the information in one format, but the same information I have to represent in the another method to other students. And action and expression is also important, because we have to interact, we have to make class interactive, we have to make a class we have to conduct activity based teaching in the class, lots of project based teaching. We have to increase the engagement of students. So these kind of strategies you can use in the class. So definitely in special education, we have to talk about not only academics but also non-academic areas. We have to work on their social domain. We have to work on their emotional aspects. We have to understand them. We have to create a good connection with the child. And in special education means multidisciplinary staff in school must be required. Not a single teacher can handle all those things. So a special educator must be there with the normal teacher in the class. And sometimes if student have a speech problem, so we have to take the help of speech therapist. Sometimes we have to take the help from guidance and counselor. Sometimes we have to take help from occupational therapist. Sometimes we have to take help from music teacher. So lots of things we have to perform in the class. So yes, according to the need, firstly identify the strength, identify the need, and always try to give need-based education to them. So all students are equal for a teacher in the class. So we have to deal accordingly, according to the need. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Professor. Your presentation was so full of important and interesting information. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Welcome. Actually, first time in online mode. I am, doing lots of conferences for the last few years, but today I was not fit, and lots of glitches, technical glitches, and lots of things happened. So
thank you for joining us despite problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Zuber. We're really proud of you. Thank you for this amazing presentation. Yes, you're really amazing educators. Thank you so much. Dear
And
Shalala, I think we
hearing up.
finished.
Now, yes, it's with great sorrow that I must announce that we have come to an end of this conference, but I'm also filled with a great sense of pride and satisfaction because we have done a lot of great work today. We have exchanged our experiences with each other. We have learned a lot of useful things from each other, and I'm sure that we'll take away some of those practical tips, and we will be able to implement them in our classrooms. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, for enlightening us.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on the successful conference once again. It was really collaboration of knowledge sharing. Educators from many countries shared knowledge with the public, with society. All the speakers were amazing. Thank you all very much once again. Thank you so much, Mr. Piyush Pandit, for this amazing opportunity. Thank you, IIU best team, especially Professor Anada, because she is always with us. She's the
Thank you all of
co-founder.
you. Thank you all of you once again. And
Professor Zuber, what do you say if we change A when we write, change A and E? Is that dyslexia?
Yes.
Not good.
And thanks to our audience for their continuous support.
Yes, of course. All participants, thank you, because always with us, always support us. Thank you. Great Georgian team also, because always support us. And
Yes.
congratulations once again. Thank you,
Thank
all
you.
speakers. Thank you.
Bye,
Well
and
done.
see you.
See you
Bye, bye, all of you.
soon. Bye.
Bye.